Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Canada updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Victory Holcomb. Victory, thanks so much for the support. We could not do this without you and we really appreciate it. And if you guys are watching this at home and you want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so have we got a show for you today? When we left off yesterday, the house guests were waiting for the power veto ceremony. We already know that Chris was planning on putting up Michael, and almost everyone knew about this plan except for the four victors, Hira, and Angie, I'm pretty sure, was left out of it. I don't get why she's not included in, anything. It's insane. But everyone in the know is just bracing themselves for impact because they know it's going to be a bumpy landing. So they finally had the power veto ceremony after I feel like Big Brother was just teasing us with all the feed outages. So the feeds came back at 7:21 p.m. and there was drama. But it sounds like there was a blow up before the feeds even came back, and this was just aftershocks from the big blow up. So Hira used the power veto on himself, because duh, and Chris put up Michael in his place, as he planned. So that means it's Michael versus Brooke. One of them will be leaving on Thursday. And, I mean, at this point, it looks like it's going to be Michael, right? But we've still got days left before the eviction, and this is their first vote of the season, so I would not be surprised if they were just overwhelmed with all this downtime and all this time to think about the vote, and they ended up maybe flipping it and Brooke is evicted. You never know. I feel like this cast has the potential to be really freaking crazy, and it would not surprise me if that happened. So anyway, Michael, Madi, Brooke, John-Luke, and Angie were all in the black and white bedroom when the feeds came back, and Madi was heated. Apparently, Chris said, oh, the whole house wanted this, and she was not happy to hear that. I mean, none of the four victors were happy to hear that, but she was probably the most heated about it. So Brooke says, I know that it's cowardly that I didn't tell you, Michael, that you were going up, but I had to protect my game. And she's saying that she found out, right before, some nonsense. And she's saying, I wanted Ming Lee up this week, so it wasn't me, She says, I felt like I had to play the lay down and die card because she's in a tough position. She's also on the block, so she didn't want to do anything crazy. But Michael says, I get it. I just would have appreciated a heads up. So then Michael goes and talks to Suzanne, and she's saying, oh, I was pushing for Min Lee to go up all week. I mean, she was pushing for it the day before for 5 minutes, but other than that, she seemed fine with the plan. But she's claiming that she didn't know that Chris was going to do that until the last minute. Girl, you've known since Thursday night, I feel like. Come on. When did he reveal this plan? Was it Thursday night or Friday morning? I can't remember. But Suzanne has been in on it since the beginning. But she says, I didn't feel like it was my place to tell you. I feel like Chris should have done that. So Michael's really confused because Chris said that everyone wanted him up, and he's hearing from everybody, no, we wanted Ming Lee up. Because that was the plan. They were going to lie and say, oh, we wanted this, and it didn't happen. So he, there's a disconnect there, and he's trying to put the pieces together. So Michael tells Suzanne, you better watch out. Chris is taking the guys out because he thinks that he can beat all of you girls in the competitions for the rest of the season. So your best chance to win is if I stay, because I can help you to take Chris out, and I will be loyal to the people who vote to keep me this week. So he's sort of campaigning already. But Madi, let's check in with her again. She is crying, she's pissed, and she's talking to Hira and Jamar. So, oh my god, apparently Chris told her that he's getting Michael out this week so that she will work more with Chris. Ew, that's the grossest thing I've heard. That's so, blah. And she's like, no freaking way. Chris lied to my face. Does he really think that I'm going to work with him after he pulls this crap? No way. So then, speaking of lying, Jamar asks Madi, are you working with Michael? And she says, no, we're friends. We're not working together. Come on, girl. Everybody knows that you four are working together. Just admit it at this point and try and work with it. So Chris and John Luke are then chatting in the HOH room, and Chris says, it's very clear that the four of you are together. And of course, John Luke is also like, we're not all working together. Like, I'm with Michael, and we're like friends with Rhiann and Madi, but we're not all working together. We saw you struggle to try and put together your little, like, pose for your alliance. Ridiculous. So John Luke is also saying there are other groups in this house that are coming after you. It's not like, we weren't even coming after you, blah, blah, blah. And Chris says, well, 8 to 10 people came to me and said that I have to break you guys up. So I just went with the house, that's what I did. So John Luke was like, man, I really was hoping that the big guys were going to look out for each other this season. Do we really need another season of that? But Chris says, I had to look at the numbers here. I could either break up the four of you, or I could go after one Min Lee. So it makes sense to break up the four, right? So John Luke is like, okay, I appreciate you not putting me up, because he knows that his name was also thrown around. Chris made sure he knew. And John Luke says he feels like Chris just drew a line in the sand, and Chris is on the wrong side. Ugh. So he asks him, do you really think that Kyle and Sheldon are going to keep you around for the long haul, knowing how good you are at mental competitions? So, something to think about, because Kyle and Sheldon, they're not planning on staying loyal to Chris. So Chris says, well, I haven't had game chats with you or Mike, really. I've talked to these other people, but you guys, So John Luke does get Chris to admit that other people were in on this. They knew about it ahead of time. It's all coming out. So Michael confronts Kyle in the backyard, and he wants to know, Kyle, were you in on this plan to get me backdoored? Freaking Kyle! He says, oh, your name never came up when I talked to Chris. Not once. Wow! And Kyle is acting offended that Michael is even asking if he knew before what was going to happen. So Michael says, well, Brooke told me that everyone knew about it before it happened. Oh, shit! So Kyle is still claiming, no, I had no idea. I don't know what she's talking about. I didn't know you were going up. What? So Kyle is taking it one step further, just keeps digging that hole deeper, because now he's acting like he will vote to keep Michael this week. And he keeps telling him, we can't freak out, we gotta stay calm. Oh, Kyle. Kyle is pretty pissed that other people seem to be abandoning the plan of putting all the blame on Chris and Min Lee, because he's acting like he didn't know that this was going on. Everybody else is saying, yeah, I knew at the last second. So he is the sole person that's like, I didn't know. So then Chris asks Michael to chat in the HOH room. And I just want to note, Chris's face has been so red this whole evening. He is freaking out. So Chris and Michael up in the HOH room. Michael says, all right, I have 2 impressions of you, Chris. Number 1, you're a really great guy. And the second one, I think you're a coward. Oof! That's, yeah. So he says, I just wanted you to tell me to my face. And Chris is all, other people came to me and spoke alliance game to me. He called it alliance game. I don't know, whatever. I guess he means that other people were like, hey, I want to work with you. And Michael never really did that. So Michael says, it's not my fault that I didn't talk to you. Isn't it, though? I feel like it's your job to talk, especially to the HOH, and make sure that you're safe. So that's on you, buddy. Also, I get that he's upset that he was blindsided, but at the same time, like, what do you think this game is? I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's got every right to be upset because they lied to his face and everything, but still, you got man. So where are we here? Oh, okay. Michael says, this whole house talks shit about you. I want you to know that. It was very old school Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the dinner party from hell when they have the psychic there and she's all like, you will never be fulfilled in your marriage. Know that, with her e-cig. So Chris, again, is saying the entire house was coming to him and they were nervous about the clique, which is sort of true, but sort of not, because the way that I saw it all play out, Chris wanted to do this. He wanted to put up Michael. He told people about it, and they were like, okay, it's not me, sounds good, and they went with it. I don't think people, well, not most people were like, yeah, you should go for Michael. I think a lot of people were saying, like, go for Min Lee, she's annoying us. Go for Angie, she's annoying us. But he was like, no, I want to make this power move and go after a big guy. So Michael says, I think this is a really dumb move. Like, you could have been working with us as a 5. And Michael also says, I feel like there's a 60% chance that you targeted me because you're insecure about something. It does kind of seem like Chris is jealous of Madi and Michael's showmance potential relationship there, because they did talk about how Michael was saying, I'm not the one that paired myself up with her in the showmance, like, Barbie box thing in that competition, in that HOH competition. See how, remember how I said I felt like production was screwing people over with what boxes they put people in for that? Because that really put a picture in people's minds, like, oh, this is a showmance. I mean, it is turning into one, but even if it wasn't, that perception would be out there. So Chris is insisting everyone was on board for this. And Michael wants names. He wants to know who was for this. Tell me. But Chris is not giving up specific names. He says it was everyone outside of the 4, which is not totally true, because Hira didn't know that it was going to be Michael. I'm pretty sure Angie didn't know. So yeah. But anyway, Michael says, I have to ask you about something. I'm hearing that you thought I had a final 2 deal with Sheldon. What's that all about? So Chris is looking, I think, visibly shook when Michael brings this up, because this is information that Chris shared with Kyle and didn't think that Kyle was going to be running around telling people about it. I think Chris would be very surprised about all the information that he was sharing with Kyle that Kyle then turned around and told everyone this week. Like the plan to backdoor Michael and lots of other things. So, yeah, Chris is pretty taken aback when he hears this, but the conversation is winding down here. Michael gets Chris to admit that he was targeting Michael for days. It wasn't like a last-minute decision. He's known about this for days, and he lied to Michael about it for days. Okay, so then Vanessa checks in with Chris in the HOH room after that conversation, and Chris is like, I'm not sure that Kyle is with me. Michael just told me something that I've only discussed with Kyle, and he's talking about the Michael Sheldon potential final 2 thing, and like, how is this coming back to me? So Vanessa says, I've also been having concerns about Kyle lately, and, you know, he's talking to a lot of people, he's playing a lot of sides. So Chris says, I trust you and Suzanne 100%, but if Kyle is going to mess himself up like this, oh well. So then Kyle and Chris were chatting in the HOH room. Oh boy. Oh. So Kyle says, I've been playing dumb to cover our alliance. I've been acting like I didn't know that this nomination was going to happen. Sure, Jan, it's to protect the alliance. So Kyle's asking Chris, please do not tell anybody that I knew about the plan to put up Michael, because I've been telling people that I didn't know. Come on, man. You're the only one who's saying that, and you were like up Chris's butt for the first half of the week, like when he actually had power still. So Chris says, okay, well, I need to know that you got me. Oh, he got you all right. In the, like, got you sense, not the have your back sense. So Kyle says, it's the 2 of us until the end of the game. And he swears on his kids. Blah, blah, blah. He was talking to Vanessa later. I think he sweared on his kids multiple times yesterday. Swore. I think he swore on his kids multiple times yesterday, and I think he was kind of regretting it because he did not mean those things. So anyway, Chris brings up the Michael Sheldon information with Kyle, and Kyle says, I did not tell Michael about that. Okay, so I think Chris is going to be a little more careful about what he tells Kyle moving forward. So then things kind of calmed down a little bit. I mean, there was still a lot of trying to figure things out and trying to piece things together, especially by the evictors, but there wasn't like a ton of craziness after that. So the others were still lying their faces off about whether or not they knew about the plan and like when they found out about it. And then around like 11:15 or so, I want to say, Chris cracks open his HOH wine. It's time to celebrate. Ooh, that's not a good look. Like, if you're the evictors seeing that. So, he was chilling with Vanessa, Suzanne, and Angie. I think Min Lee also got some wine, and I think Rianne had some later, but she wasn't part of this party. And he's like, well, I'm going to protect my girls. I did this for you, blah, blah, blah. They're talking about their numbers, and they feel like basically everyone's on their side. That's what it sounds like anyway. So, yeah, moving on. A little later, Madi apologizes to Chris for blowing up. She says, you know what? I felt blindsided, and I thought we had a better relationship than that. And Chris says, well, I only really lied to like 3 people. Wasn't it more like 4? Because of the 4 evictors? But anyway, she's not going to be happy that she's one of those people that you lied to, you know? The point is, you lied to her. She's upset about that. So Madi says, I thought we had a connection. I wish you would have told me ahead of time. And again, like, that's kind of the game. People lie. People blindside each other. But yeah, you're going to have to face the consequences of that. So Chris brings up the clique again, which he kept saying is like, clique? I don't know if that's just a Canadian accent or what. But he says the house was behind this decision. And he tells Madi, you know I'm a smart girl. You know I'm a smart guy. Would I make that decision without knowing where people's heads are at? Oh, Chris. So Madi says, you know, if I walk out next week, at least I'll be able to walk out with my head held high and know that I played an honest game. Blah, blah, blah. This is not big best friend, okay? Let's see some lying, Madi. So, come on, girl. You've been lying so much about you not working with the evictors. Get real. So, today, the feeds were down pretty much all morning for some sort of competition or something. I'm assuming it was some sort of sponsor-related content, which we see a lot on the Canadian Big Brother. So, yeah, I don't think it had any effect on the game. I think it was just, I thought I saw something about, like, water balloons or, like, water guns. So, I don't know. But the 4 evictors are hoping that they're going to be able to get the votes together to keep Michael this week. So keep in mind, you need 6 to tie and 7 to just outright stay. So if you look at the votes, we got Madi, John Luke, and Rianne. That's 3 for Michael. And then they have some people that they feel like they can work on and possibly sway. So they're thinking Angie, because, like, what is she even doing right now? Hira seems down to maybe shake things up. He's really pissed at Chris for using him as a pawn this week, so he's willing to go against him. They're thinking maybe Jamar, maybe Carol, maybe Min Lee. I mean, Min Lee, I think, would definitely be down to shake some stuff up, but I don't know if Jamar would go against Chris, because for some reason these two are like best friends now. I think because Chris let Jamar in on the plan way later than everyone else, but still let him in on the plan that he was going to be going for Michael. I think that really meant a lot to Jamar, who's been feeling out of the loop lately. And Carol, I feel like maybe with the right campaign, Carol could be swayed. Because here's the thing. Michael does not have those votes right now. But if he puts in the work and plays the right angles, maybe he has a chance. Maybe. I mean, Carol is supposed to be working with Brooke in that group of, like, what is that? That alliance of 6, I want to say? The 6, or whatever they call themselves. But I don't know, because Carol has been really down on Kyle lately. So maybe if Michael was pushing that he would target Chris and Kyle and really push that Brooke is a number for Kyle, maybe he could get something going here. But I don't know. It's kind of a long shot. So we've got 2 days left until the eviction. Anything could happen. It should be an interesting week. So I'm really excited to see people start campaigning and see what that's going to be like. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. And until next time, much love.